So I've got my laptop here because I'm going to be going through a bunch of your questions, and I think it's safe to start off with one of the most asked questions, which was, is FTMO a scam? Is FTMO legit? Do they actually pay you, etc, etc? And as far as I can tell you from my own experience, they are 110% legit. They are not a scam. I think that, again, like I've mentioned this previously, there's two sides to every story, so it depends on who you're getting information from. For example, if they did hold funds or didn't pay someone, I'm sure there's going to be another side to that story, and there's a reason behind it. But as far as I'm aware and what I've experienced, they are 100% legit. They have excellent customer service. I know a lot of people who are also FTMO funded traders, those who've been with them for like 6 months now, and do get paid. So yeah, I don't question the legitimacy at all. Now, I've got a lot of questions on what is FTMO, how does it work, the requirements, what it actually is, and honestly guys, definitely check it out, the link in the description. You can literally have a read for yourself, have a read of their FAQs, their frequently asked questions, what they're all about, but essentially that they are a prop trading firm, and if you can prove yourself that you know how to trade, you know what you're doing, you're consistently profitable by completing challenge 1 and then the verification, then you become funded. And so definitely have a look at their FAQs, their frequently asked questions, and you can pretty much dig out as much info that you need from there. And I got a lot more questions about sort of the rules involved with FTMO, and a few on the restrictions and like news. So when you're doing the challenge and the verification period, you can trade over the news and you can hold positions over the weekend. When you become funded, you can't trade between 2 minutes before a certain news event and 2 minutes after. So that 4-minute window, you can't trade if you're funded, and this is only on restricted events, so things like NFP, you can't trade it. If you're funded, you'll always get an email the night before, the afternoon before, of any news announcements and news alerts, and then of course it's very like obvious and highlighted when it's restricted. So for me, what I do is I actually put a line on my chart so that I'm aware that, okay, I shouldn't trade here, or I've got to be cautious that this news is coming out, there might be a little bit of volatility. But for me, it personally doesn't bother me since I don't trade NFP. I don't actively execute any positions. It's very rare that I would, because again, it's a lot of uncertainty, it's added risk to my account, which I'm here to preserve my capital, to grow and to scale it, not to, put any more risk on it. It doesn't really bother me with these restrictions because I'll just close off before the weekend, and I will just close before a news announcement. And that is what I do personally. I know there's people who hedge their positions, there's people who keep it at open risk. But for me, I just like to keep it simple. I have peace of mind. It works well with my psychology that I just close it before the news announcement. Again, I don't want to be losing my account over breaking such a silly rule that I could have avoided. So Jason's asking, is there a limit to how many FTMOs accounts you can have? Your limit is 300,000, so that is 300k accounts, or obviously more if you have like the 50k or the 10k account. Again, you guys can read this on the FAQs. I've got another really good question that a lot of you guys have been asking about. Do they calculate 30% from a cumulative profit or just that month's profit? They take 30% off from that month's profit. So if you made profit and then didn't withdraw, let's say the following month, and you didn't make profit, let's say you would just break even, then they're not going to take another 30% off, because from that previous month to that month, you didn't make anything, so they will take nothing. So I've got a couple questions, people asking what happens when you break the rules, if you violate the rules, if you don't meet the profit target. So if you're in the challenge and you don't meet the profit target within the 30 days, or if you're in the verification and you don't meet the 5% profit target within 60 days, then if you're over break even, then you get to restart and try again for free. If you're in the verification, you've got to start back to the challenge, and it's only free if you end up being over break even. So now moving on to the next part, a lot of people are asking when is the best time to do FTMO, if there's a better month, when do you know if you're ready to do FTMO? And my answer to that is just straightforward, like it's really up to you and your journey. I personally think that if you are consistent with your plan and that you know your plan is profitable and that you have had some experience, you know, trading that in the live market, then I'd say, yeah, go try it out. Obviously you can try out the demo, which I personally never did or didn't go into. Again, at the stage that I was in, I was consistently profitable with one strategy. But again, like you've seen my video, the previous video that I did about the 3 lessons that I learned when doing FTMO, was that when I was doing FTMO, I was starting to refine and tweak my strategy. Not completely change it, but I was just testing other things. And I think obviously that's a lesson learned, you shouldn't do that. So I think it's really down to you and where you're at with your journey. So moving on to the next part, which is all about the questions I got about platform, spreads and the broker. I personally use just the standard FTMO broker. It used to be LMAX. I'm not sure if it still is LMAX actually. I kind of skimmed through the email when they were doing an update. As for the spreads, I'll be honest, when it was the LMAX, before they did an update, like I want to say, I don't know when it was, I want to say it was a couple weeks ago, these spreads were almost like 0 or 1, almost similar to like a raw spread on like an EU or AU. But now you're seeing spreads between like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. So it's a little bit higher, but for me it's not really a big deal, and I still recommend the FTMO broker. So for the next section, a lot of people are asking FTMO alternatives, or if I've looked into other prop firms and why did I choose FTMO? And the simple answer is FTMO is the one where their objectives and their rules work best for how I trade and my strategy. So how I trade is I trade 1% risk. I know a lot of people are asking what risk I use. 1% risk, and my stop losses range from like 12 to 15 to like 20 pips, maybe 25 pips if it's like an exotic pair. So lot sizes range from like on a 100k account, that would be like 5, 6, 7, 8 lots, something like that. So with FTMO, that's okay, that's allowed. With a 5% daily drawdown, that essentially means that I'd have to lose 5 trades within a 24-hour period, within the same day. Now that's very rare with how I trade, so again, that works for me because that pretty much won't ever happen. Right now, I'm averaging about like 12 to 15 trades a month. So again, it's very rare that I'm gonna be just taking a crap ton of trades and then them all being losers. But again, we never know. If you're scalping, then that's gonna be obviously a bit different, something that you're gonna have to consider. And I know people who do scalp with FTMO, but they just reduce their risk. Because obviously when you're scalping, you're in and out positions. So you could take 10 positions a day and imagine those 10, and imagine your risk was 1%, then you've blown your account at, you know, at your 5th trade. So that's something to consider. There are other options like Fiverr's, Trader for Traders. I'm gonna have to get back to you on other options. I might have to make another video on it, but definitely read up on the rules and the restrictions and like the max lot sizes and the max losses, etc, etc. So for the next bit, a lot of people are asking about the trade copier I use. I use Social Trader Tools. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Essentially, I hook up all my challenges and my personal account on there. You essentially have your master account, which is where trades copy from, and then you have your slave accounts where your trades are copied to. So for example, I'll have my main funded account as my master, then I have my personal, challenge 2, challenge 3, or verification or whatever. I'll essentially just have on my phone MetaTrader, and I'll have my main account, my master, and then I'll take any trades from there. It'll copy any pending orders or any stop losses, take profits. If I close an account, all my other trades will close as well. But for me personally, Social Trader Tools was the easiest to use, most user-friendly, and just makes sense for me because there's other ones where you have to set up like a VPN, and it just gets a little bit more complicated. Definitely check it out. Let me know what you guys think.